Hey there guys, so I'm back with another movie review. Now, I took a trip to the pictures yesterday and I saw two movies. And one of those movies is one that took me by surprise. I went to see Mission Impossible Fallout. Now, let it be known that I'm not a huge fan of the Mission Impossible series. I have seen a couple of the movies here and there. I saw the first one a long time ago, back when I was a kid, and I don't really remember it. I was only kind of half paying attention. And I also remember seeing Ghost Protocol when that one came out. And I've seen bits of the second movie too, but I've never actually watched it like start to finish. So I've never really been a big fan of the series. I don't really know much about the plot or the characters and whatnot. So I went into this film with an open mind. I remember when I saw Ghost Protocol a few years ago, I didn't like that movie personally. There was a few decent action sequences and some good stunt work, particularly the scene with the window. You know what I'm talking about. But the movie itself I found to be a little bit cliche and just a little bit repetitive, and maybe I'll watch it again sometime, and maybe I'll enjoy it more second time round. That has happened to me before, but from as it stands right now, I wasn't a big fan of that movie. But I went to see this movie with an open mind. I had no idea what we were gonna get, and honestly, this movie holds up. It really does. I had a blast watching this movie. Now, it wasn't perfect. There were a few issues I will talk about, particularly in regards to the pacing of the movie. The movie is about 2.5 hours long. In fact, it may have even been more than that. It may have been about 2 hours 40 minutes. And if so, that is just too long for a movie like this. I mean, when I go to see an action movie, I expect it to be well paced. I expect it to be fast paced, and I expect it to be no more than a couple of hours long. And I mean, preferably an hour and a half is long enough for a movie like this. But there was a lot of pointless dialogue in this movie. There was a lot of like dream sequences which didn't need to be there, which I really don't like in these kind of movies. When an actor has the same dream like 2 or 3 times just to foreshadow what goes on later in the movie. I don't want to see that shit in a movie like this. I never like stuff like that in movies. There was also, a few scenes that were just too talky for me. And I get that you need to have a story and you need to have dialogue. I understand that. But, there were just scenes that just dragged out. I mean, certain scenes where the characters were just giving so much pointless exposition, like, because they understand in the movie that some people might not have seen the previous ones, and it's like they have to explain stuff through expedition. No, they don't. Okay, I'm really not interested in that. But those are just a few nitpicky things about the movie which kind of bugged me a little bit. But that's not to say that this is a bad movie. Not at all. This is a really, really fun, really a well acted movie. That's what I will say. The actors in this movie did a great job. You had obviously people like Tom Cruise, who's been in all the movies. He's the main character. And Henry Cavill, who really looks the part. That's one thing I like about Henry Cavill in this movie is not only was he, not only was he a fairly decent actor, but he also was able to pull off the action sequences, because he's a big guy, he's a muscular guy, looks like he could handle himself in a fight. And the fight scenes involving him in the movie were certainly the best. Also, you had people like Ving Rhames in this movie. He's a pretty good actor. I remember him from the first Undisputed movie, which I liked. And there's people like Michelle Monaghan. She plays Tom Cruise's wife and whatnot. Alec Baldwin is in this movie. He's like the CIA guy, like one of his superiors. So I got the characters. I liked the characters. I liked Simon Pegg, and that was weird because I'm not even a fan of Simon Pegg. Shaun of the Dead was the only really good thing he did, but in this movie I thought he was quite funny and charismatic, and you could tell that they were going for him to be the comic relief of the movie. They needed somebody who would kind of see things from the audience's point of view and would make a few funny comments here and there, and that was his role in the movie, and he pulled it off pretty well in this one. So what I really liked about this movie, probably my favourite thing about it, was this movie has some of the best chase sequences I've ever seen. I was kind of reminded to you guys remember the opening chase sequence in the Casino Royale movie? It kind of reminded me of that. There were a few chase sequences like that. There's even a chase sequence towards the end involving 2 helicopters, which I mean was bloody fantastic. Like the effects in that scene were really cool. It was adrenaline fueled. I mean, Tom Cruise. I don't know whether or not Tom Cruise ever uses stunt doubles. I couldn't really see any obvious stunt doubles in this movie, and I know that Tom Cruise is well known for doing his own stunts. And although I don't think Tom Cruise is a particularly great actor, and I'm not really a fan of most of his movies, I think as a stuntman, he's very committed. You know, he works really hard in these movies, and he's really really fun to watch. Like particularly the chase sequence where he's like running across rooftops and he's jumping from building to building, jumping out windows. Just there's a scene where he's in an office. There's a woman sitting on a chair, and then she stands up thinking, "What do I do? This guy's standing here," and then he's just like, "Thank you," and he takes a chair and just smashes the window and jumps out, and everybody's just standing watching. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, I thought that was a funny scene. It was well directed, and yeah, just all the chase sequences in this movie. There's motorbike chase sequences, car chases. Tom Cruise, running his ass off and jumping off of rooftops trying to catch up with Henry Cavill, who's just walking, walking all casually because he's had a head start. And I thought that was really fun. I had a blast watching those scenes. One chase sequence in particular involving a motorbike went on a little bit too long, could have been cut. They really need to get some of these directors a good editor to edit some scenes out of these movies just to make it a little bit shorter. But I enjoyed it nonetheless. The one fight sequence in particular which I liked was where Henry Cavill and Tom Cruise have to they have to sort of detain this guy, this Asian guy, and he just fucking starts kicking their ass, and the two of them have to work together systematically to bring this guy down. And I thought that was a really really fun and intense action scene. And yeah, the movie has a satisfying ending. I liked the ending of the movie. There were some quite clever like espionage type moments, like spy work where they trick people into giving away their position, and they give away their position like it's believable the way they do it. Like it was really really set up nicely and well acted too. I just thought this was a fun movie. This is a really quick review. I would recommend anybody, if you like an action sequence, if you like a chase sequence, I would recommend you go see this, because this is probably one of the best action movies of the year. Don't get me wrong, I've seen much better. I mean, this is no Undisputed 2, for example. This is not like that level of action. This is no Blood and Bone. This is a much more like grounded, like more of a spy espionage, like more of a James Bond type action than like a real martial arts flick. This isn't like that, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. So really good movie, solid 7 out of 10, I'd say, maybe even an 8 out of 10. I don't know, but it was a good movie. Would I watch it again? Probably. I'll probably get this movie when it comes out. So I don't know. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think about this one anyway, and thanks for watching.